Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Blue Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me tonight is my co-host, Hefty Duck. And, excuse me, a little cough in there. And as we always do, we invite people to come on the show. Whether they do or don't come on, different story. There's always next time. But anyways, we got some stuff to talk about on today's show. The Blue Jackets have played 2 games since their last show, and they lost both of them, which it sucks. I hate that. But there's still some good things to talk about in both those games, and we're going to talk about that. The Blue Jackets are getting good goaltending so far this season, and we're going to talk about that. That's something that was kind of an issue last season, and it's not really an issue so far this season, and it's good that that's happening to the Blue Jackets. So we're going to talk about that. KIRILL Marchenko has been awesome so far this season for the Blue Jackets. We're going to talk about that, and so much more. A lot of stuff going on today's show, so let's get going.
Hell yeah, welcome in everybody. I'm glad to see all of your shining faces out here. Big shout out to our audio listeners as always. You guys have been making us proud this year. If you would like to listen to us as well, you can find us anywhere you get podcasts: Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever you got it. Get them. We are there. Also, check out our YouTube. We're trying to grow our YouTube. Our biggest audience is here on Twitter. Well, we're broadcasting both Twitter and YouTube, so check it out. I'd like to get kind of more over that way here before too long. And we don't have any sponsors or anything. We do this all on our own. And if you'd like to help support us, the easiest way to do that is to just like and subscribe or share. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your friend's family. Something.
That's right.
But yeah, so this is our 5th episode of the 4th season right now. We're getting into it. We're into hockey. We're a couple weeks in now. Some stuff's happening. Some good, some bad. But before we get to all of that, because it's gonna be a little dramatic today, we got some other fun stuff to talk about. I'm not gonna be that harsh, I promise. But something a little bit better. What you got for us, Kevin?
Before we get to that, just say that like we do with Ohio State, there's a little give and there's a little take. We're going to take something from you and a little constructive criticism, something we wish that you would do better, something we know that you can do better, and there's a give, something that we like, something that we are going to give to you, something that we like that you're doing that just you are doing good at, and keep going. And that's what we do, whether that be the Blue Jackets or Ohio State or any other sports team that we like. Just throwing that one out there. But anyways, first, the Monsters recently released new jerseys that they're wearing this season. They are a Blue Jackets themed Monsters jersey, and it's really cool, and I like it. So, essentially, it's the Monsters' take on a Blue Jackets themed away jersey, because it's a white jersey, with slight differences compared to the Blue Jackets away jersey, but it's minus a little change here and there. It's basically the same as the Blue Jackets away jersey. It's their current logo, but obviously in Blue Jackets colors. So the blue, the red, the white with the little silver. And it's got the monster and Cleveland Monsters on it in the circle. Blue circle outlined in red. And the blue pants is cool. And the striping on the white socks is good with the red, the white, the blue, the white, and the red. So that's cool. I like this. And this is a cool shoulder pad. patch. It's the state of Ohio.
Ooh, that's sick.
2 stars. You got 1 star for Cleveland, 1 star in the middle of the state of Ohio for Columbus. I like that.
That's cool.
Well, Blue Jackets logo, other shoulder patch, and the number is white outlined in red. So,
Yeah.
what you thinking here, Hefty Duck?
Ooh, this is sick. I love the linking up more of the Blue Jackets with the Monsters. Obviously, almost any Blue Jackets fan is aware that the Monsters are the farm team for Columbus. Some people in Cleveland aren't as aware of it. So, like, I think because, like, when I've been to some Monsters games and whatnot, and every time I go, I don't have a Monsters jersey, so I like wear a Blue Jackets jersey usually, and there's always someone that comments on it in kind of a weird way, and not trying to throw shade at anyone. It's just it's less heard of in Cleveland because Cleveland is very concentrated on football, basketball, and baseball. And but I like the nod here. I love that patch. That's cool as shit. I wish the Blue Jackets just had that, but without the Cleveland one, because obviously this is the Cleveland Columbus connection, but Columbus being their own entity, just having that 1 star in the middle of the state of Ohio as a patch would be sick. Yeah, I mean, I like this a lot. It's like you said, basically the away jersey, so I can't argue with the colors. I love that. There was a time where the Monsters were taking the wine and gold kind of colors more
Cavs.
from like the Cavs, yeah, because they play at Rocket Arena. Um,
Cavs.
and I get that. They're all owned by owned by the same guy, but especially with the 25th anniversary of the Blue Jackets this year, just having the extra nod. Hopefully this will bring them a little bit more. I mean, just a jersey, but hopefully this will bring them a little bit more people realizing, like, oh yeah, hey, we could go see them. It's a little bit cheaper. You get to see these guys who are amazing at hockey still. It's a little bit more relaxed atmosphere.
That's
It's a
true.
fun time. So anyway,
But
all
there's
that
more.
rambling to make it I'll give this a 8.5 out of 10. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that. But wait, there's more because the Monsters have posted more pictures of the jerseys. So
Dang,
the
I
silver
like it.
really pops here.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's pretty much just the away jerseys. Now, the obviously the advertisement patch is a little bit different. It's like century something for the Monsters. At least it's red and it matches their colors.
Yeah,
That's why I don't necessarily mind the Safe Light one for the Blue Jackets. At least it's just white lettering. It's not like a weird color or anything.
yeah. So
Pretty good.
next,
They got the white helmets too. I don't know if anyone cares.
let's see. We got
Oh, that's pretty cool.
let's see here. Another. This is a better close up of the shoulder patch.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I like it.
that's cool. That's cool. Let's see here. Do they have more? They do. Look at this. So, just another one hanging up in the locker room. Okay. That's a real good close up of the logo. I like that.
That's cool. I like how they have like water bubbles like come up to the surface of like where the water would be in front of
Yeah.
the monster's face. That's hilarious. They're actually like 3-dimensionally raised out.
Blue A outlined in red like the Blue Jackets. I like that.
Pretty cool.
Oop, that's a good shot of the A right there.
Nice.
So I like that. All right, so that's that. But we now have some pictures of Blue Jackets prospect Jackson Smith in action when they were in Columbus playing Ohio State. So that was some cool pictures.
Nice, dude. Those Ohio State jerseys are so cool.
Yeah.
I like that so much. I
The
know that's not what
old,
we're talking about, but I
no, but it's good because it's
like
the
seeing it on
old.
the ice.
Yeah, it's like the old school kind of like cream vintage white sort of thing. That's cool. That's cool. So there's that. Let's see here. No? Okay. No? All right. So that's that. Now, probably like one or two more things, and then we'll get to like the real big news of the show, the games. Blue Jackets prospect Caden Lindstrom. He now has his own shirt at Michigan State that you can buy. So I thought that was cool. You know, um, if I
That's
liked Michigan State, I definitely would get that shirt for Caden Lindstrom. You know,
a nice color green.
yeah, I do. So that's cool to see that Blue Jackets prospect Caden Lindstrom has his own shirt now that you can get at Michigan State.
That's pretty cool. I'd get that. I like the color green. It's a real like dark, not quite a forest green, but
No,
pretty cool.
slightly a lighter shade of green compared to what Minnesota uses.
If you ever seen Michigan State's green, it's not like the light version of it. It's like the slightly darker version of the green that they use sometimes. Like you can
Yeah,
see on the obviously if you're listening to us you can't see, but on this banner here they have like a light green banner with like the dark green background. It's the dark
yeah.
green. So I like that. Pretty cool. I wish they had the monochromatic one in the background. You see how it's like a black and white image? That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Had that on the t-shirt. It'd be kind of old school.
but you know, you are an art, you are a artist, Hefty Duck. So, what would you, from an artist perspective, what do you see when you look at this?
Big fan. Not the biggest fan of the font choice, but other than that, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I like it.
So there we go. Okay, so one last thing before we get to the games here is, you know, we always promote our stuff with the show, and Hefty Duck promotes his stuff, and I promote our stuff. But you know, you should totally check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers, a fun Blue Jackets themed fan group that I do. It's a lot of fun. We do marches and so much more. So follow us on social media and check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers.
Oh yeah, check it out.
So, first things first, we're going to talk about the two games that the Blue Jackets have played. So they played one in Calgary, and that was a 3 out of 10 game for me. And why it was 3 out of 10 is that there were moments in that game where the Blue Jackets looked good. They got a big goal from KIRILL Marchenko, shorthanded, his first ever shorthanded goal in the NHL. And it was an awesome play set up by Boone Jenner because KIRILL Marchenko's on the penalty kill, which that in itself is interesting because you don't necessarily think of KIRILL Marchenko as that. Not dissing him, but that's just the truth. You just kind of think of, you know, a guy that's more, you're probably going to see him on the power play and more 5-on-5 than you are, you know, penalty kill, but it is what it is. And you know what? I thought he did prior to that goal, I thought he did a good job helping to kill that penalty. And then Boone Jenner kind of sees at the last moment that he's open and just kind of good pass to him, and then breakaway to KIRILL Marchenko. He shoots and scores. Awesome play there. Now, where it kind of goes down the toilet is there were just too many stupid brain farts, just dumb. Hefty Doc and I have said this on every show so far this season, is that if the Blue Jackets lose, unfortunately, it's because they were playing a good game and then they just had one too many stupid, dumb brain farts. It's a mistake or two, and then it's in the back of your net. And then you look back at it, it's like, damn, we should have had that game, but we didn't because one or two dumb mistakes. And the dumb mistakes here is that you're too aggressive. There's a time and place to be aggressive. There's a time and place of when to do it, when not to do it. And there's a place of knowing how to be aggressive. and how to not be aggressive. In this instance, the Blue Jackets did not show that. Too aggressive and not knowing the situation in the game and not knowing when to be aggressive, when not to be aggressive, not knowing how to be aggressive. Because there's aggressive and being smart, there's aggressive and being stupid. And the unfortunate reality is that in this game, the Blue Jackets were aggressive and stupid. For example, on the third goal, that the Blue Jackets give up. Yes, in the offensive zone, it's in today's world, it's more common for players to be more aggressive, for defensemen to jump up into the play. However, though, if someone goes, someone has to be there to back them up. And on the third goal that the Blue Jackets give up, it's because there's both Dante Fabro and Zach Werenski are up in the play, being way too aggressive in the offensive zone. And Dante Fabro sees that Werenski's open, passes the puck to Werenski, and Werenski misses it, doesn't get it. The puck goes the other way, and then shoots and scores. It's like, why are we having two defensemen up in the play being aggressive? Like, no. And this is nothing against Dante Fabro or Zach Werenski. They're good defensemen for the Blue Jackets, and they do have a little offensive upside with their defense. But 9 times out of 10, they're usually smart about it. But why are we having two defensemen up in the play like that? That's just ridiculously stupid. If you're doing that, no one is there to back up the play. And we'll back this up here and show the Marchenko go after I'm done talking. But
yeah, I was just bringing up the one you're talking about now here.
It's just like stupid. We're not dumb. Like, what are we doing here? Just no, you should not be doing that. And then shortly after up the third goal you give up another goal. Really stupid. And essentially that was the game right there, because you get to the third period, you have some moments where you look good there. And then, we'll pause it here, but when I'm not talking. But you had some good moments in the third period when you look good, but then you just couldn't get anything done. And it was just dumb. It's just
and
dumb.
then look at this odd man rush again too, right here. I mean, I'll bring this up here in a little bit. Oh shit, I went too far.
So we'll get to that right where we're at. So okay, things are looking good here. Okay, fine. You got good offensive time in the zone. You're putting pressure on the Flames, but then you see that Werenski and Dante Fabro, they're going to be way up into the play in the offensive zone. Yeah. And that's one of those that this is a 50-50 thing. If this works out, the Blue Jackets probably score a goal there. But if it doesn't, what unfortunately happens, you pause it right there. We'll maybe keep going a little bit. Okay, right there. Pause. So
yeah.
You
how far back he is.
Yeah, you can't do that. No, this is stupid. Now, this was on the fourth goal, so Werenski and Fabro didn't play a role in this. But the point is, it's just, you can't do that. This is stupid.
You want to go for the third one?
Okay, but that was, you're right, that was the third. But anyways, but it was just stupid. It's just stupid. You can't do that. You need to be better defensively, and if you're going to be aggressive, someone has to be backing up. Someone has to be the backup. The Blue Jackets have been much better about this so far this season, where they're playing much better defensively. If someone's up in the play offensively, someone's there to back them up. It's just for this game, for whatever reason, we decided to not do that and just be stupid and not play any sort of like defense. And It's just very unfortunate that you let that game get pissed away because of just dumb brain farts like this.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a recurring theme tonight, just between these two games anyway, about these odd man rushes. I think I've already mentioned it once, but I'm probably mentioned it a million times. I get sick of hearing it, but like, just look at how much time he has to hold this puck, and just because he has an option in the middle, opens up that shot so easily for him.
Yeah.
And obviously, at this point, Greaves probably still a little shaken up from that first period.
Yeah.
Those goals, bam, bam, that
was stupid.
Sucked. Really bad.
Yeah.
We'll talk about those a bit more yet here too. But it's just an easy wrister. Boom. That's unfortunate.
But then the Marchenko goal, that was probably the highlight of the game there. So we back up to that.
Yeah, it's right here too. So so the Blue Jackets kind of get one back here because if you notice,
back up a little further, just a little bit. Yeah, keep going. We want to.
I think it's this one. Hold on. So look, it's a turnover. Boone Jenner grabs it. He crosses the blue line. And boom, gets a little stretch past Marchenko, who just like tucks it in right around him.
Yeah.
Pretty smooth. Unfortunately, the replay I have won't go back any further than that what I had there. But this is exactly what was happening to the Blue Jackets. Was they were if you look back here, look how many Flames are back up. There's all when the puck is getting ready to cross into the neutral zone from the Blue Jackets defensive zone. There are 4 Calgary Flames still in the defensive zone, and 3 of those are like down either equal to or behind the dot yet.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what the Blue Jackets were doing. Now, granted, this was really good, and luckily we have players like Marchenko, who can put that shit away. 9 times out of 10. So yeah. Anyway, I'll let this goal play again. And so takes it across, just finds Marchenko a little bit right around the defender. Wide open shot. Boom. Not a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
So that's that. So
I got a couple more things to talk about with this game. Yeah, were you done talking about this? Were you?
Well, it's just 3, and then I'll just say that first period to start off was awful. You give up 2 quick goals like that. You can't, you don't have to show it here. You don't have to show it. You don't have to show it. You don't have to show it. We can.
Right on.
We can pull this off. But that first.
It was a really impressive deflection, though. I mean, you can't deny that was a sick shot from the very first goal they got. How are you going to do that? How are you going to?
No, you can't. But it's just like that. That first period, it started out awful. You can't give up 2 goals like that. It really kind of set the tone for that game early on, and you just can't do that. Now, as the period went along, things went way better for the Blue Jackets. They started to play better. They get the goal from KIRILL Marchenko, so that was good. But it was just terrible after that. The second period, awful. You played terrible defensively. And then the third period was a little bit better. You more positive momentum there. You had some chances, but you just can't put it away. And when you do that, you're not going to win. So that's just a 3 out of 10 game for me. There's some stuff that was good there, but for the most part, it was just awful. And if you play like that 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose, and you just can't do that.
Yeah, I want to break down a couple of these goals real quick.
Yeah.
I was talking about. Like I said, that very first one from the Flames was actually a very impressive goal. The one thing that maybe they could have done better, the Blue Jackets, is pressure the shot a little bit more. I mean, it was a good shot. I don't know what else to say about that. It sucks. But then if you notice here, so this is the second goal the Calgary Flames made. When this puck is passed up to the top of the defensive zone, just take a note of where every Blue Jackets player is. Okay, so right now, boom. Everybody is either equal to the center of the ice, the long ways, or on the bench side of the ice. Every single Blue Jacket, they're all right here, either in this little clump or over here up against the wall. Understandably, the puck is over here, but you know how fast this shit moves. Maybe just hang back a little bit. And so we see Fantilli standing in the middle of the ice here. So there's a guy up top who ends up getting the puck. Boom. They're just it just seems so lopsided sometimes, and that's what's happening. It's lopsided into the offensive zone, it's lopsided into the defensive zone. It's odd man everything. I don't know, I guess, the exact solution for that positioning, maybe watching like literally this video and fixing your positioning. And I don't want to call any specific player out, but I think Fantilli was slightly responsible for 2 goals this game against. That shorthander was so sick though. Pretty dope. That's about my analysis on that. Once again, then it was a 3v1. Let me exit out of this. For Nazem Kadri, this was his 1,000th game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he had a good night, at least. I won't share that one. I don't need to go through all that. Just so you know, once again, it was a 3v1. How is it not even a 3v2? It's a 3v1, and it feels like that is constantly. The fact that they got a shorthanded goal, I was amazed by that.
Right.
That was some quick thinking, that was pure athleticism, almost more than it was anything else. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about this with the next game though too. Like,
So
too focused on the pucks, odd man rushes, leaving Greaves left out to dry.
it just no.
Sloppy
So
passing.
the Blue Jackets, they played a game out in Vancouver. Now compared to Calgary, that was definitely a better game. I'd say it's a 7 out of 10 game. Probably would have been 8 or 9 had they won. Well, probably would have been like 8 had they won that game. But it gets dinged down to a 7 because they lose, and it just comes down to this. It's again, it follows the same theme that we've been saying all season long so far with this show, which is if the Blue Jackets lose, it's because they play a good game overall, but then they have like really stupid, dumb brain fart moments that cost them the game because a puck is in the net. So the first period, I think, neither team scored, but I thought the Blue Jackets played a real good period. They're definitely one of the better periods they played all season long. They're the 5-on-5 game, which the Blue Jackets have shown they're really good at this last season and this season. It really came on strong. Really had a lot of good chances to score, putting the pressure on Vancouver. You could have made the argument that the Blue Jackets at least could have had 2-3 goals there in that period, the way they were playing. Now, all right, second period started out blah. It was okay, but then again, dumb brain fart moment. You leave a guy wide open, and he shoots and scores. No, you can't do that. You just can't do that. Now you do get the goal. You get the goal there from KIRILL Marchenko. Awesome play, just bang bang passing. 1-2, shoot in the net, direct. Pucks on net, straight to the net, north-south. This is something that the Blue Jackets are, a little too much for my liking, where it's like, we're just going to be cutesy with the puck and east-west, and we're just going to look for that pass, and we're going to look for that perfect play. We're going to look for that perfect play. And you can do that, it's fine, but at some point, you got to shoot the puck. Put the puck on net. If you don't score, go work your ass off and go get the puck again and put it on the net again until you score. The Blue Jackets are just better that way. When you're out hustling the opponent, you're working your ass off, you're grinding it out, and you're just putting pucks on net, shoot. When they're doing that, they're way better, and that feeds into their 5-on-5 game, which is really good and one of the best in hockey. This east-west stuff, when they're doing that too much, it doesn't work for them. They need to just be north-south, simple, aggressive, straight ahead, grind it out, outwork the other team, out-hustle them, work your ass off. That's what you need to do. And that's the type of goal that they got when Kirill Marchenko scored. 1-2 passes, right to the net, shoot, score. Now, Vancouver gets another goal to tie. Actually, no, Dmitry Voronkov gets a goal to make it 2-1. And again, another example of just out-hustling the other opponent, outworking them, grinding it out, working your ass off, and just get pucks to the net. And then a play right in front of the net, and Dmitry Voronkov, he's right there, and just jams it into the net. That's a Dmitry Voronkov goal. If there's an example of what a Dmitry Voronkov goal is, it's that one right there, where you're right in front of the net, and he works his butt off and just jams it in there. And that's what he did. Now, Vancouver gets a second goal that realistically should not have counted, because Dante Fabro is right in front of the net. It's a battle with the Vancouver player. Now, you see when you're playing hockey, two guys are fighting right in front of the net for positioning. One guy is trying to stay there. The other guy is trying to get that guy out of that spot so the goalie can see it. And normally you'll see a little poke with the stick here, a little poke with the stick there, just a light cross check here, stuff like that. That stuff isn't called because it's fine. They do that all the time. Nothing really comes from that. Where the issue is that you give a guy like one big, good, hefty cross check, a big one, right to the back, and you whack him pretty good to the point to where he falls down to the ice. That's a cross check. That's a no-no. You can't do that. And that's what happened. You got a battle in front of the net, Dante Fabro with the Vancouver player, and then the Vancouver player cross-check to the back, whacks him pretty good to the point to where Dante Fabro falls down on the ice, and then this guy for Vancouver is wide open, he shoots and scores. That goal should not have counted. Right then and there, cross-check should have been called. Right there. Blue Jackets should have been on the power play. Or if they score or not, that's a different story. But at least they should have been on the power play. And when you look back at this game, that goal ended up playing a big difference in the game. Now, is that the only reason why the Blue Jackets lost that game? No. There are other reasons why the Blue Jackets lost that game. It certainly played a role in it, but there's other reasons why they lost that game. So there's that. Now, in the third period, Vancouver scores again. It's 3-3. Blue Jackets score from Kirill Marchenko. Awesome shot. Snipe. Vancouver's goalie had no chance on that one. It was a perfect bang-bang play. One pass, two pass, shoot. Awesome. And then what was, looking back at it now, was the goal that kind of really hurt the Blue Jackets there, that really kind of screwed them, is it's in the third period, and Vancouver shoots, and the puck bounces off of Elvis Merzlik, and it goes into the net. And it's like, damn, that you got to have that one there, Elvis. You have to have that one there. You can't have it where the puck bounces right off you and goes into the net. Because you had it, and you could have stopped it right there. But you didn't. The puck bounces right off you, and it goes into the net. And looking back on it, that was the goal that kind of really made the difference there. Because if you don't do that, the way that the game that it was played, it goes to overtime, and the Blue Jackets still have a chance. Another mistake that was a brain fart that cost the Blue Jackets there is that late in the game, Vancouver gets a penalty called on them. Blue Jackets pull the goalie. It's 6-on-4. And you know what? They don't score on the 6-on-4. They don't score on the power play. But you know what?
Fuck.
But they looked really good there. They had a lot of good chances. And if they kept playing the way that they were playing, they would have scored, in my opinion. That's how good they were playing in that moment. However, though, Yegor Chinnikov really dumb mistake there because he a penalty, and that killed whatever offensive momentum that the Blue Jackets had, and one that essentially kind of killed it there because they didn't really have anything after that until like the dying moments of that game when they pull the goalie and they got chances left and right, can't score. And even Jody Shelley called this out, and he usually really does this. Like, yes, he's the Blue Jackets, announcer with Steve Mears. And yes, he does support the Blue Jackets. And yes, he is kind of Homer-ish. But for the most part, he doesn't really do that stuff. He does kind of, for the most part,
because he also does like the national broadcast stuff too a lot. So he
does a lot of the national broadcast stuff too. But like for the most part, if you put teams announcers on a scale of like how Homer they are from like 0 to 10, Jody Shelley, he's not really that high up there. He's just not. It's probably like a 3 or a 4. Because, he's supportive of the Blue Jackets, and he'll say some stuff that's nice about them, and he's there cheering them on, but it's like he's not. Well, you watch some of these guys, some of these other teams, and they're like, 10 out of 10 homer, like they can never do wrong. That's not Jody Shelley. But even he called this out. It's late in the game. The Blue Jackets have chance after chance after chance, and then a penalty gets called on Vancouver, and the ref has his arm up in the air like this. And, of course, the rule is you have to touch the puck for play to get stopped. And the ref blows the whistle, and Jody Shelley is like, he didn't touch it. Why'd they play it dead? He didn't touch it. He didn't touch it. Why'd they do that? And, again, that kind of killed momentum there, too, because if that kept going, the Blue Jackets probably would have scored there. And so then they win the face-off, but then it gets cleared out, and then the Blue Jackets lose. So ultimately, that was a 7 out of 10 game for me. You played pretty good there. You had some good moments. You get 3 goals. But just, again, like we've always said, stupid brain fart moments where you make 1 or 2 mistakes that's in the back of your net. And that's why you lose. So, unfortunately, it went like that for the Blue Jackets. But 7 out of 10 games, still pretty good, even with the dumb brain farts.
Yeah, I got to lower mine just a little bit to like a 6 just because they lost. I mean, they did play good. I get sick saying that, but they did play really good. They kept up the entire game. Just like those brain farts, man. I understand though too that's probably gonna happen a little more on these longer road trips as well. They went from New York to Vancouver. That's a pretty long thing. I doubt they stopped off at home first. Maybe, I don't know how. There's like a day or two between the games, but
New York, Calgary, then Vancouver.
Yeah. Oh, I had my dates mixed around. Yes. Sorry. Thank you. New York, Calgary, and then Vancouver. So this is the third game of a road trip, 3rd loss in a row. It's a streak now, unfortunately. A couple of things I just want to point out in this game too. Special teams. Where were you? At least there was. Both teams were over 3 on the power play. But the Blue Jackets seemed very focused on the puck, which is great. And being aggressive towards the puck, which is great. But it can't be 3 out of the 5 skaters. It can't be 4 out of the 5 skaters that are all like packing in on top of the puck, leaving 2 or 3 guys open behind them across the ice. I've seen it like this last week. It's been like 4 out of 5 goals. It seems like they're just getting passes behind them. They're turning to play. The play's not in front of them. I even saw one like with one of the Blue Jackets was literally just like facing his guy behind the goal while the puck was up to the top of the defensive zone. I was kind of looking, and then I saw him turn completely around like the wrong way. It was really odd. I think we're maybe just seeing some tired brain here. They've been going hard. That 4-game win streak was pretty good. Now we're hitting little bit of a downturn. It's going to happen. But they're going to need to fix a few things the next time they see these teams. So I want to talk a little bit about the one, that was a nice poke by Voronkov. Nice being aggressive up on the puck, being where you should be, positioning great there. That is one place where the positioning was great. Good job, Ronnie. O'Connor being kind of a bitch there, which he's supposed to be doing. I'm not like saying he's a bad player for that. It's almost a compliment in that he was getting into Fabro's head and literally just shoving him over so much. Like, the refs should have called that, in my opinion. Him knocking him down from behind with a cross check while the puck was not near them directly impacted the outcome of the play, and which obviously then you win by 1 goal. Every goal is so important. So I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, there was no challenge, but I don't know. Maybe there should have been. It just at least they didn't call him back on it. You just gotta be careful with that. If you get knocked down and they're not going to call it, you get right back up. You knock him back down, dude. Like, they punish the retaliator a lot. It's just going to happen. Once again, it's another game. Next goal, Fantilli got beat. That's just got beat. Great passing play though. Passing's been a little bit rough here and there lately. A lot of turnovers, but great passing play from Fantilli to Marchenko for that 1 goal, and then for that last goal, the guy who receives the puck is already 5 feet behind Provorov when he's getting the puck. Provorov being the last man back. Is it directly Provorov's fault? Not his alone. It's a team effort. But once again, something with the positioning is not jiving well. Either the book is out on Evason, the book is out on players' tendencies. They're just constantly getting beat, like just being in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And if you know that, look at Alexander Ovechkin. He sat in the same spot all the time. You know who got him the puck? You know who got the defenders away from him? They're his teammates. And that's what the Blue Jackets are biting every time. They're biting. They're going in too far. They're going in too hard. So many times. Now, obviously, you have to be aggressive. I mean, I don't mean to sound wishy-washy here, but you got to be. But they're not picking and choosing their moments wisely. They have the athleticism. They have the ability. But the positioning, the special teams, like something's going on. Got to be figured out at some point. But yeah, overall, like I said, 6 out of 10 game. Saw some good things. Really, the more repetition I see of the things that we keep talking about week after week, the lower my score is going to be going on certain things. And hopefully they can right the wrong here. They got another game coming up here before too long. They're going to be playing Edmonton. And this series could get a little bit heated because of how close to back-to-back they play. Blue Jackets kind of coming in off of a loss streak. You'd be a little bit heated after all that. But do you have anything more about that game, Kevin? The Vancouver one?
Yeah, so I'd say this is, look, it's 1 game, small sample size. But having said this, is that the line that Adam Fantilli was on with Kirill Marchenko and Dmitry Voronkov just looked really good. It really fed into the Blue Jackets 5-on-5 game, which is really good. It was the best in hockey last season, and now it's still one of the best in hockey this season. They keep bringing this up. If you watch Blue Jackets games, that when it comes to scoring, on the rush, or like 5-on-5, the Blue Jackets are top 10, number 6 to be exact. So you're in the top 10 doing that. That's pretty good. And that line of Kirill Marchenko, Adam Fantilli, and Dmitry Voronkov is awesome. They had an 8-point night against the Canucks. Played a big role in the Blue Jackets scoring all 3 of their goals. it was just that good. And, they did play for some time last season when Sean Monahan did get hurt, and Adam Fantilli looked good last season when he was playing those first line center minutes with Kirill Marchenko and Dmitry Voronkov. So as of right now, it's good to see that all that positive momentum that they had last season has continued into this season. Now, whether if it does or doesn't continue, that's another story. I have a feeling it probably is going to continue. We'll just see how it goes. But as for the reason why this happens is that I do believe that people have figured out what to do with the second line when you're playing the Blue Jackets. Because last season, kind of later on in the season, March/April, the Blue Jackets had Boone Jenner, Kent Johnson, Adam Fantilli on a line. And it was awesome. It's one of the better lines that the Blue Jackets had all season. It's also a reason why the Blue Jackets were on that heater to finish out the season, going 6-0 and fighting for a playoff spot of game 81 of an 82-game season. And to a certain extent, they had continued that momentum into this season, where they looked good, they've gotten some goals, and they've helped the Blue Jackets win some games. However, though, I think it's getting to a point where teams are starting to figure out how you play against them, and it's just not as good anymore. The book is out on them, and, it's your job to figure out a way to counter that and get around that. And as of right now, for the most part, they're not really doing that. So at a certain point, you have to say, okay, we like this as a line. It's been a good line for us. But we got to do something different here. We got to change it up and do something different. And that's why you see Adam Fantilli playing on that first line with Kirill Marchenko and Dmitry Voronkov. And it's why you see Boone Jenner playing third line, fourth line minutes now. And it's why you see, Kent Johnson being lower. No, Kent Johnson was higher in the lineup this time because he was with Sean Monahan and Miles Wood. That looked at some good productive minutes there. So that's what it is. You had to do it. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Dmitry Voronkov, Kirill Marchenko, and Adam Fantilli.
Yeah, Sam, that's a hell of a line being out there. Being an offensive power, they're being absolutely fantastic. The only really criticism I have of that line, well, so wasn't Fantilli with like Jenner and Johnson for a while too?
Yep, and it looked
And
good. It looked good.
they looked good offensively. They all have kind of the lowest minus on the team. That's just one of the things I was talking about. That's such a offensive focused line, understandably so, that maybe put more defensive minded defenders in there then too with them to make sure that someone's back there not getting beat. Not to like rag on them after saying how good of a job they're doing, but I do like seeing Fantilli with Marchenko and Voronkov. They're the young guys. That is the future top line. That is the present top line. I like it a lot, and I think that they should play together a lot more. That being said, if positioning is an issue, which like Marchenko and Voronkov, man, they're two peas in a pod right now. The way that they communicate and work with each other on the ice is awesome. It's in many ways like watching Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. The way that they're able to work off each other, because like right now they're the highest points leader on the team, but they have almost equal goals and equal assists, and that's one thing that if you look at Edmonton, oftentimes Connor McDavid has like a shit ton of assists because, well, to be fair, they were splitting them up a bit more last year. I remember that because both of them were kind of like the big powerhouses for the Lions, but that's what it feels like to me. That's like those guys. That's when they're on the ice. that's who you pretty much have to play against. And speaking of, we're talking about points leaders like we do every week. Marchenko's still up on top. He's got 16 points, 8 goals, 8 assists. That's right up there with the best of them so far. Dmitry Ronkov right behind him with 13 points. So they're the difference makers right now. Obviously, Zach Werenski's there. Adam Fantilli, 8 points. Boone Jenner, 8 points. But I would like to also talk a little bit about someone now. Well, do you want to get back to Marchenko before I talk about someone else?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, let's get back to Marchenko. Never mind.
Yeah, I know. I got a slide for that. So... So, as it says on the title of the show, Kirill Marchenko is awesome, and he is. He's really played really good so far this season for the Blue Jackets, and his entire career with the Blue Jackets so far has been awesome. Played really good this past season, had a 31-goal season, and this season he's taken all that positive momentum he had last season, and he's built on that and has played even better. Been so fun to watch, especially on that top line, whether that be with Sean Monahan and Dmitry Voronkov, or now with Dmitry Voronkov and Adam Fantilli. He's really stepped it up. Dude has become such a reliable player that you can count on. You need a goal, he's going to get you that. Whether that be sometime during the, regulation, or hey, if you need him in the shootout, he got it done against Pittsburgh. That's just the type of player that he's becoming. He's putting up the points, so he's getting some assists, becoming just ridiculously good on 5-on-5, both offensively, and he's even a little underrated defensively, so he's getting good there as well. He is just really stepping up and essentially becoming like one of the big names for the Blue Jackets, one of these star players that the Blue Jackets have. He's really just becoming that good, and he's really that fun to watch. And the thing is that his shot, it just seems like it's getting better, and it's demonstrated that in the goals, some of the goals that he's scored so far this season. It's like, wow, that's an awesome shot. Like, how did he do that? You look where he is on the ice, and it doesn't necessarily look like that's a place you could score a goal, but he does it. He shoots the puck and scores because he's even becoming that much even better at shooting the puck. He's just that good and just so fun to watch. So it'll be interesting to see if he keeps this going and builds on this momentum that he has right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if he continued to build on that and play the way that he has.
Yeah. Sorry, send a text real quick. Marchenko's the force out there, and he's going to continue to be one. I mean, each season he's improved a little bit from the season before. From the time he came into the NHL at 22, he got 25 points in 59 games. To 42 points in full season to 74 points last season. I mean, if he keeps the trajectory that he's on, he could feasibly end up being a 100-point player. I'm not sure if this is the year for that. I mean, Werenski didn't get too far off last season. But, I mean, shit. Yeah, I mean, let's see. What's he at right now? Point per game. Marchenko is 16 points in 14 games, so that gives him like a 1.05 points per game percentage or something, or average, something like that. It's more than a point per game. That's insanely impressive to me, especially 14 games in, still looking hot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I can really say about Marchenko that we haven't really said. I'm just a huge fan.
I did get a Kirill Marchenko shirt when I was in Columbus at the Blue Jackets.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah.
So
maybe that might be one of the next jerseys I get. Because he's locked down for a little while yet.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if the Blue Jackets are in a situation where they're just like, okay, so here's your next contract with like a lot of money. We'll throw it at you. Here you go, take it. I'm not saying that like it's gonna be like 17 million, but I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if the Blue Jackets had their own version of what Minnesota had with Kirill Kaprizov, where it's just like, well, here you go,
Yeah.
here's money, here you go, here's a lot of money, take it.
Because
where it's like, yeah, it's expensive and a little sticker shock. You probably don't like doing that, but you got to get it done. You got to do it. Just like what Minnesota had to do with Kirill Kaprizov, they just had to get it done, even if it was a little more expensive.
Well, and hopefully in 2 years too, that cap raises a little bit. Him and Voronkov are locked down through next season, the 2026-27 season, and then there are RFAs after that, so they're still not UFAs. Both very young. Both can be looking for big paydays, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The thing is, so is some other people. We're going to be looking at Kent Johnson looking for a payday after that year too. We're going to be looking for Adam Fantilli looking for a payday after this season. What it's going to end up going down to is there's a lot of hype in potential, and it has been for a long time, and there's still, you can see it in players, but potential does not win games. It's going to come down to, I believe, the actual statistics and like what's going on the ice entirely. Because they gotta lock down Fantilli. You can't not lock him down. But what I'm saying is, right now, you got to pay the two top guys on your team some of the top wages on your team then too. Because obviously we see Werenski out there. I believe he has the biggest contract on the team by about $1 million. But no one has a double-digit contract right now in the Blue Jackets. There is a projected cap space of $12.8 million, current cap space of $15.4 million. Goodbranson is on the IR with his hip injury. So that's something that we're going to have to really keep an eye on in the future. This is something that happens with the Blue Jackets sometimes. I mean, I'm thinking about Bobrovsky. I mean, he was there for a long time, but ended up not being able to keep him around. Panarin, they couldn't keep him around. And not saying that they weren't destined to go on somewhere else and that wasn't an okay move. What are we going to do?
Well,
what do you think about their contracts? What would you give Kirill Marchenko like right this moment if you had to sign him right now?
He's at least getting like a 7-year, 8-year deal that's at least $10-11 million.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a double-digit $10 million player easily.
Because that's where it is right now. That could obviously change. It could be more. It could be less. But right now, he's getting like a 7-year, 8-year deal that's at least $10 million, $11 million.
Yeah, and as fans, we like to look at players and like I want so bad. I want Adam Fantilli to take off like a rocket ship and be absolutely top of the NHL right now, and he is future superstar. But then I just feel like Marchenko is so slept on in the NHL. Like he's very low key out there, just ripping it every night and all the time. And maybe part of that's because we're in the Ohio market a little bit, but I think part of it's just people aren't educated.
Yeah.
I like that next slide you got.
Yeah. We're getting a little ahead of myself here for a future segment. Ooh.
Oh, that's funny.
No, but I agree. I agree with that. There, we'll put the Kirill Marchenko slide back up. No, I agree with that, and and honestly, I think part of it is that it's no disrespect to Kirill Marchenko, but I also think that if you're talking about the Blue Jackets, who probably gets the most attention right now, it's Zach Werenski from an outsider perspective. So, like, not you and me, Hefty Duck, or other Blue Jackets fans. Like, if we're talking about the Blue Jackets, then yes, we will talk about Zach Werenski. But then we'll also talk about Kirill Marchenko or Adam Fantilli or Kent Johnson or Sean Monahan. Or, we'll talk about Boone Jenner. We'll talk about Jet Greaves. And you can go down the list of other guys that you could talk about. But if I had to take a guess from an outsider perspective who really don't pay attention to the Blue Jackets, if you're talking about them, I'd have to take a guess that you're probably talking about Zach Werenski the most.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's also the history of Zach Werenski. I mean, he's been good for so long. You can pretty much guarantee you know what you're going to get out of him. So it's easy to look ahead and be like, oh yeah, he's going to do good here. So let's focus on him.
And
why not?
And I'd say this. I know it's becoming in more recent years. It's becoming more common to just, let's say you got a young up and coming talent that's got, future star potential. The old way and it's still kind of like this to a certain extent, but it's becoming more this other way where it's like you get a young up and coming guy that's got future star potential, kind of a talent, and he gets that first contract that's dirt cheap, and then you just throw all the money in the world at him on that second contract where it's like 8 years, 8 million, 8 years, 9 million, something like that. Where it used to be more common where it's like you get the dirt cheap contract, then, your next contract, it's slightly more expensive, but it's still kind of cheap. And then if you do good there, then you throw the big contract with the big money at it. That's kind of exactly what the Blue Jackets did with Kirill Marchenko, and that's proven to be a benefit to both sides. Because if they had done that long contract and it didn't work out, then it'd be like, oh crap, well, we're stuck with him for like 7 years and this contract is expensive and no one's going to want to touch it. But now, it's just, it's perfect in so many ways. I'm not saying that the Blue Jackets are going to trade Kirill Marchenko, but in some hypothetical scenario, if they had to do it, right now it's perfect for that because his contract is reasonable. It's not really that expensive, and like you could move it because you could look like, okay, that's not so bad. Like you could do something. And so there's that. And also why it works out is because you know what? It works both sides. It worked out because it's a prove-it deal. It's worked out for the Blue Jackets. It's worked out for Kirill Marchenko. And now, if you're the Blue Jackets, you feel a lot better about giving him like an 8-year deal that's like $10 million because you've given him 2 contracts and you've seen what he can do over those 2 contracts. And you know that he's proven that he can be good. Because that is the risk of when you do dirt cheap contract for the first one and just jump right into the big one. So I kind of like that the Blue Jackets did it with Kirill Marchenko, where it's like dirt cheap contract, slightly more expensive contract, and now when the next contract comes up, you got no issues just throwing a big money contract at Kirill Marchenko, where it's like an 8-year deal, $10 million. Because you feel good about it because through these 2 contracts, he's proven that he can be a good player for the Blue Jackets.
Yeah. I definitely foresee a big payday in his future. So can we move on to talk about 2 players real quick before we talk about some goalies?
Yo.
All right. So
go.
I've seen this online, seen some people talking about it. So I want to ask, do you think Matthew Olivier is taking too many penalties?
No. I don't think it's out of the ordinary, but maybe I'm not paying attention to something.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's been super detrimental. Like, I don't feel like his penalties are the ones that are like the ones oftentimes coming up, because very often when he's penalized, it's like, he's fighting someone else's. They're fighting each other, so they both get penalized. But so he was not assessed a game misconduct the other week with that one where they said he elbowed or clipped that dude. That was not a suspension, but he just recently got one. I don't know. How did you feel about that hit where he was boarding on the Vancouver game?
So, okay, looking back on it, yeah, that is a penalty. You can't do that. Though I can also see what Matthew Olivier is trying to say there. You know, the way you read his mannerisms and his body language, from my perspective, he's basically saying like, I didn't really hit him that hard. Which, in my opinion, I think there is some truth to that. When you watch the replay, like, yeah, he didn't really hit him that hard. So I could see why he could say, I think that should have only been like a 2-minute boarding. So I can see why he feels that way. But at the same time, when a ref sees a hit like that, they are gonna go the full on 5-minute major boarding, and maybe they give the game misconduct, maybe they don't, which in this case they did. So like,
especially when it's someone like Elias Pettersson, I guess.
yeah. So like, I could see why they kind of did that. I get that, and this also happens too. I just wonder if sometimes, some of these bigger guys. I'm just speaking in generalities here. I'm not like necessarily like ripping on Matthew Olivier or anyone else. But I just wonder if like these big guys, sometimes I just wonder if they just forget that, like, sometimes you are stronger than you actually think you are when you do a hit. Like, you may think that, oh, I didn't hit him that hard, which I could see why he thinks that. You may think that, but you are actually hitting them that hard. And some of these guys, there's some, we've seen with Dmitry Voronkov and other players as well, where they're bigger guys and like they hit someone, and they may be very well not like putting their whole 100% effort into that hit, but because they are bigger, that sometimes they're maybe perhaps a bit too strong for their own good, that they hit someone and it's worse than what they think it is. And it's a balance that a lot of these bigger dudes have to learn. You have to learn how strong you actually are and know your limits, and just know how strong you actually are. And once you figure that out, it's a whole new ball game, and you're that much better. And I just wonder if sometimes, if some of these bigger dudes, like, they kind of forget that you are actually stronger than you actually think you are. That yes, you may, from the replay, you have a point there that maybe you didn't really hit him that hard, but for you, hitting them not really that hard is a total different ball game compared to someone else.
Yeah. And they're playing on literal ice too. Like you really gotta watch yourself. Like someone could just be slightly off balance and boom, they got a concussion now or some shit. Yeah, I mean, my kind of thoughts on it, realistically, he's out there doing his job.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not seeing the same Olivier that we're seeing last year yet.
No.
I believe he's got it in him. He's getting like last year, like right off the rip, he was getting a little more extra playing time. I mean, I don't know what happened, like how it was coming out of camp, but like Olivier was out there strutting his stuff. He's getting, 16 to 19, 16, 17 minutes a game. And now he's averaging right around 14 or so, which is kind of where he's typically sat before. I don't know. His usefulness on the ice is more than just a goon. He's more than just a fighter out there. He's also he's got some points. So he's tied for third in the NHL right now with 32 penalty minutes. Right behind Emil Martinson Lilleberg and Tom Wilson with 41. Well, Lilleberg has 33. So it's not like there's not other players that are out there getting these penalty minutes. But I don't generally think that Olivier plays a dirty style. I feel like the penalties that aren't the fights, that's the ones that are the problem, are the little stick penalties, the little shit here and there. That's really that, because if your penalty kill is not the greatest, get less penalties. We got a comment here from this is Michkov's Kitten 13.
RT. Good old
Yeah,
RT.
he says, "You guys remember his scrap with Rempe when he tagged him? So
Yeah. Oh,
satisfying."
yeah.
Absolutely, hell yeah, yeah. Rempe, I I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Rempe.
Well,
He's
he was, look, coming in, and there was hype around him, and I'm not saying it wasn't justified. I think there was some truth to it. You got this bigger dude who's, God, he's like, what, like 6'8" or something like that. And he also kind of weighs a lot. And he's like a bigger dude that can fight, but he does have some skill to him. Like, he can, you know, you've seen him score some, like, dirty, greasy goals right in front of the net. So, like, he does have some skill to him. But, like, the big, fuss about him and all the hype is like, oh, look at this dude who's big and, like, he can fight and he can do all this, other stuff. And there was some truth to that. But then, he gets to fighting Matthew Olivier and he gets his ass handed to him and he gets smoked. He just gets destroyed. And honestly, in my opinion, I am of the belief that he really hasn't been the same since that moment when, Matthew Olivier smoked his ass and just handed it to him and just beat him really good.
he seemed to pick and choose his moments a little bit more.
You're right. And realistically, if we're being honest here, that should have, if we're just talking from just like a size perspective, he should have won that fight because he's like 6'8" or something like that, and I want to say he's something like 220 or 230 or something like that.
He should have been able to hold him out.
Yeah, like a big dude, like he should.
Yeah.
A big dude, like he should have been able to win that fight against Matthew Olivier because Matthew Olivier was at a disadvantage from both a height and a weight perspective. But Matthew Olivier wins that fight even at the disadvantages that he had because Matthew Olivier is a good fighter. Like, he practices this stuff. One of the things he does in the off season is like he goes to like boxing classes and he boxes and he practices that. And then in practices, during the season, like the Blue Jackets players, and like during the game, you watch it and you hear like Steve Mears and like Jody Shelley talk about it, where like Matthew Olivier will pull someone off to the side and say, okay, I don't want you fighting, but if you do fight, this is how you do it. And he shows them a little tips, little pointers, a little here or there. Okay, like if he punches here, you punch here. If he does this, you do this. So like Matthew Levy really good at fighting. So like honestly, you really shouldn't be going after him. And if you do go after him, you better be prepared and better be ready because he's coming for you and he's putting everything he has into that. And it's going to be a good fight. You better be ready for it. And honestly, I don't think Matt Rempe was ready for it. I just think he thought like, I'm a dude that's like 6'8", and like maybe he's like 220, 230. I can kick everyone's ass and just take people down. And it's like, no, you can't do that. It doesn't necessarily work like that. I just don't think he's been the same since Matthew Olivier beat him pretty good.
We got another comment here from YouTube. We got at Christopher Nienaber 454. Says Rempe's a goon. I'd like to see Olivier more in front of the goal, pushing for position to get rebounds for shots on goal. Yeah, I do like to see him being tough down there as well because he's more than just Olivier. He's more than just tough guy. He's not afraid of the puck. I like him down there. Kind of taking a place of where Jenner usually sits, but a different line. Right there in front of the goal. But yeah, you got anything more about Olivier?
No, he's
cool.
Hey man, fun to watch, and definitely one of the better trades that the Blue Jackets have had in years.
Definitely. The other guy that I want to talk about, I actually want to talk about him next week. We're going to talk about goaltending, I think, for quite a while here. I got a little bit to say about it so far because it's been good.
Yeah, so the Blue Jackets have definitely been getting some good goaltending here. And that wasn't, at times, that was an issue last season that kind of held the Blue Jackets back to a certain extent. You know, there were times like this past season where it kind of let the Blue Jackets down, where, Danil Tarasov, there'd be games where he'd have a bad game. He let in a goal or two that he probably shouldn't, but he didn't. But then on the flip side of that, there'd be games that the Blue Jackets won because Danil Tarasov played a good game. He was awesome. And it was the same thing with Elvis Merzlikins, where it's like there are times where he wasn't very good and he let in a goal or two that he probably shouldn't, but he did it anyways. And that was a reason why the Blue Jackets lost a game. But then again, on the flip side of that, there are games where Elvis Merzlikins played a real good game, and that's basically the reason, one of the reasons at least, that the Blue Jackets won that game, because Elvis Merzlikins played a good game and took over the game, and that's why the Blue Jackets won that game. And then Jack Greaves, he let in a goal or two that he probably shouldn't have, but he did it anyways. But overall, he played a good game there, and he helped the Blue Jackets win some games, and he was the reason why they went on that 6-0 heater to finish out the season and fighting for a playoff spot until Game 81 of an 82-game season. And going into this season, that was one of the issues that you said that, oh boy, this could be an issue, is the goaltending, because sometimes it's good and it is sometimes bad, not so much. However, though, honestly, the goaltending's been 9 out of 10 so far this season. Kind of a small sample size because we're only in November here, haven't played a lot of games. But having said that, it's a 9 out of 10. It's looking pretty good here. That it's been a strong point, a strength for the Blue Jackets so far this season, is that for the most part, Elvis Merzlikins been awesome. He's played a good game, and he's helped the Blue Jackets win games. There's even been like a game or two where you can make the argument that the Blue Jackets won that game because Elvis Merzlikins. It's the same thing with Jack Greaves, where he's played a good game, he's been awesome, and he's helped the Blue Jackets win some games. And you could make an argument for like a game or two where Jack Greaves is like really good, and that's the reason why the Blue Jackets won that game. So it's been a 9 out of 10. Some moments where it's like it hasn't been very good, and you let in a goal or two that you shouldn't, but you do it anyways. But outside of that, both Jack Greaves and Elvis Merzlikins have been awesome for the Blue Jackets, and the Blue Jackets are getting good goaltending so far this season.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, obviously, there's been losses. Losses are going to happen even with your goaltenders doing well, especially if you let the other team rip like 40 shots on your goal. Unfortunately, the other night, that save percentage in the Calgary game was .840. That was rough because they did not have as many shots on goal as they should have had for as many goals as they had. It's just unfortunate. So far this season, Jack Greaves has 3 wins, 4 losses. And on the flip side of that, Merzlikins has 4 wins, 3 losses. So this tandem, it's not doesn't seem like it's goalie 1, goalie 2. It seems like goalie A, goalie B, like just whatever, like the option. It's just it's a tandem. It's equal playing time, equal games. They're both getting nights off. They're both getting the extra bit of rest, and I'm glad to see that something like this is kind of working out towards the Blue Jackets' favor. And now, if the defense and defensive positioning and special teams can kind of catch up with that too, then they'll be solid because the goals will come. There's goal scorers on the team. The defense needs to come, so there's less goals. But yeah, so far so good. For the season, Jack Greaves is sitting at a .907 save percentage. He's got a career of .920. Now he's only got 28 games played in the NHL, but it's still pretty good. Elvis Merzlikins is a .909 for the year. career 902. 251 games played in the NHL. And yeah, we'll see if they can snap out of this funk here. I don't blame it on the goaltending at all. There was a couple of saves the other night that Jet Greaves. I mean, that very first one, I think he just got rattled a little bit. It's very, you don't see it very often with him because he seems to be a very like mature type of goalie. He keeps his head cool. He's very relaxed seeming. He doesn't react to almost any goal being scored on him. But I would imagine that you're on a road trip. You're out there. It's late nights. A lot of trips. Maybe your brain's not 100% there, and then boom, you get rattled on within the first minute. Those first minute goals have to suck as a goaltender because you're immediately fighting up. It's an uphill battle. But I don't know. It didn't. That game sucked. It just is what it is. But we'll see him. We'll definitely see some improvement this year, I think, from that as well. It's going to happen. It's how you bounce back from it that really makes a difference because that's been kind of the Blue Jackets' problem in a bit is the bounce back, the getting back from like a hard loss or 3 losses in a row and whatnot. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. With the goaltending, it's been some pretty decent games so far this season. But all right, you got some other stuff you want to talk a little? What do you want to talk about next?
Yeah. So we have a fun little segment to go with here. So I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna put it. Well, we'll put it up on the screen. But first, so we're obviously we're big Blue Jackets people. But also we always show for support for other Ohio sports teams, whether that be the Reds or the Bengals or the Browns or the Guardians or the Cavs or the Crew and Ohio State. Sometimes we're a little constructive criticism towards Ohio State. Sometimes we are very supportive of them. A little give, a little take. But this is a little fun segment that I have, which is if you woke up today or tomorrow and you said, you can't like Ohio State anymore, you have to pick another Big Ten school to cheer for, who would you pick? I have my answer, but you know what? We'll let Hefty Duck start off this one. So if you can't pick Ohio State, what Big Ten school would you pick?
Well, as we've talked about a bit on the show, I'm not necessarily the world's biggest football fan. I really don't pay attention to it much. And when I do, I'm just let down anyway because Browns, Jesus Christ. But the Ohioan in me just cannot pick Michigan.
Nope.
Just can't. Just because. Now I do like their hockey program. And if so, but I'm taking the whole thing as a whole. We have Hartsey over here yelling at me to pick Penn State, choose Penn State. No, I'm not going to root for a team whose mascot is a Nittany lion. Probably like a hallucination from whoever thought that they saw like a cougar or mountain lion in there anyway. No. Go have fun with your little kitty. So I got to go with, because I love the hockey program so much, I think I'm going to go with the University of Minnesota.
Oh, okay. So you're picking the Gophers.
I'm a big fan of the Gophers. I'm a big fan of the Gopher mascot. I mean, I'm not going to lie that maybe I'm a little biased because I do like the hockey jerseys so much.
Yeah.
But if not Ohio State, that's probably who I'd be rooting for. Plus, it's like, I don't got no hate towards Minnesota. And I never it's not like it's Michigan or Pennsylvania or Indiana or something like one of them close by states that I gotta flip them the bird,
So, and that Hartsey says no.
That's for you, Hartsey.
Love you, Hartsey. Love you. I will say, Hartsey. Penn State's not going to be my choice, Hartsey. But I will say this: I don't really have as much hatred towards Penn State as Hefty Duck apparently has. I've always kind of, have some more positive feelings towards Penn State. Like I like the whiteout that they do for football games, and they do that for their hockey games as well. Um, Blue Jackets prospect Jackson Smith, who we've talked about on the show, is at Penn State playing hockey. So I have a little bit of like, I hope Penn State does well because Blue Jackets prospect Jackson Smith. But this is my pick. Apparently, Hefty Duck and we're on the same wavelength. We're on the same page. Because if I could not like Ohio State anymore and someone said you had to pick a different Big Ten team, I too would go with the Gophers, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I just, why? Because I just love it. I just love this logo. It's cool. It's a gopher, and the gopher is playing hockey. The gopher has a hockey jersey. The gopher has hockey gloves, and the gopher has hockey skates, and he's skating like he's playing hockey. And the gopher has a hockey stick, and there's the puck, and this logo makes it look like that the gopher is playing hockey. And I just love this. And if I like the Gophers, that means that I could watch good hockey every year because Minnesota is historically good at hockey every year. They're just really good at hockey, and they make the NCAA tournament, and they go to the Frozen Four, and they've won national championships, and they produce like studs, elite talent, for years now that go to the NHL. Like, that's something I wish Ohio State could say. I wish they could do that, but they don't because they're not interested in putting effort into their hockey team. They're okay with their hockey team just playing at the shot, or the women's team playing at a pee-wee rink, and they're not interested in putting effort into hockey. I wish they were because they deserve it. The men's team has certainly been better more recently over the years, being more competitive, winning the Big Ten in 2019 and making multiple NCAA tournament appearances in the Frozen Four in 2018. And then the Ohio State women's hockey team, they're obviously good, playing in 4 straight national championships and winning 2 of them. Like, they deserve it. Like, come on, Ohio State, get off your ass and put more effort into the hockey team. Give them better facilities and put more effort. But unfortunately, they're not really interested in doing that because Ohio State has a football-only mindset. So I guess my pick is, if I had to pick a team in the Big Ten that's not Ohio State, it has to be the Gophers because I love this hockey logo. Gophers!
You do make a great point about the gopher having hockey gloves. Like, it's a low key little addition that makes it feel much more hockey oriented.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to
backtrack a little bit.
You are obviously before we get there, I got one last question. So obviously you are an artist, you're a graphic art designer, you're a tattoo kind of a guy. You design stuff for a living. So like, when you look at this Gopher logo, like, what do you think of it?
It gives me a lot of like 90s nostalgia with the eyes or whatever. I wouldn't do it any different. I mean, maybe for like a special edition one, I'd make it like maybe like a more 3-dimensional one, just like a little highlight here or there, a little shadow here or there. But as far as like what makes a good hockey patch, this makes a great hockey patch as well.
Oh, it is.
I mean, fantastic. I like that they got the puck in there yet too.
Yeah.
He's got his head up. He's looking where he's passing it. Dude knows what he's doing. He got his hands right.
Yeah.
Love it.
When I was in my Minnesota trip, which I got more pictures from that to share later on in the show, but like, I stopped at a rally house in Minnesota just for, just to look around there. And like, if you like Minnesota sports, like, that was the perfect store for you because they had everything there. They had the Twins, and they had the Vikings, the Timberwolves, they had the Wild, and yes, they had Gophers stuff there as well. And they had these two really cool shirts that I was just thought it was awesome. It was a Gophers shirt, but like it had that Gophers hockey logo on it. And it was like, oh, that's a cool shirt. Like, oh, that's awesome. You know, they had the Gopher hockey jersey too, the red one that we've talked about on the show. But they had the two shirts there, so that was cool. So overall, if I had to sum this up, close up this segment, if you told me I can't pick Ohio State anymore, but I have to pick another Big Ten school, I'm picking the Minnesota Golden Gophers because I like this Gopher logo. Gophers!
Hell
All
yeah.
right. There's that. Now, we'll put this comment up on the screen from Christopher.
Christopher Nieberg. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
You guys are right about the goaltending. That's been really solid. And if you look at the goals given up, most have been off a deflection. Yeah, most of the goals that have been scored on the Blue Jackets so far this season, it's like, yeah, it sucks you gave up a goal, but it's not really the goalie's fault there. It's just some dumb brain fart mistake that the Blue Jackets make, and it's in the back of your net. There have been some goals where you look like, yeah, okay, that he should have had that there. But for the most part, 9 times out of 10, if a goal gets scored, you really can't fault the goalie for that.
Yeah, right. No, this is it's a great point. Like that deflection the other night. What are you gonna do? How are you actually gonna save that? I don't think he was really like the only reason that he was being screened in some way is because you can't tell that it's gonna hit the stick like that. It hit it so hard and hit the ice and bounced up over him. Like, what are you gonna do? That was about as perfect a deflection I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are less off the rebound though. I've noticed it still happens from time to time, but that was one thing that really plagued Merzlikins and Tarasov was the rebounds and the part of that in some way defense not being there to get that as well. So I really think I really like to think that the guys are playing well in front of Greaves too, for the most part. I don't know. There's like a slight difference in feel with the defense when Merzlikins is in than compared with Greaves. I think Merzlikins may have a little bit more say as to what's going on out there. Not that Greaves isn't. The goaltender has to be like in command back there a lot, but I don't know. I will keep an eye out for that more. But all right, man. What else you got?
Okay. This is, as we do, there's a little give and take that we do with Ohio State. Sometimes it's a take or we take something from them and be a more constructive criticism. Sometimes it's a give or we give something to them, something that we like about Ohio State. A little bit of both. Same thing we do with the Blue Jackets on the show, but we do a little give, a little take. This particular one is a give for Ohio State. Why it's a give, and I'm going to zoom in on it. I don't know if you can see it. Here. Let's see here. See. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that shirt there, it's brute. It's basically it's like the Gopher logo, only except it's Ohio State mascot's Brutus playing hockey.
Yeah, it's got like the same shape and everything. He's actually got the gloves on and skates.
Yeah.
Surprising. That's sick.
I like that.
I like it a lot.
I'd buy that shirt.
I wonder if they have it on black.
Yeah, dude, I'd take that shirt. I just love it. Great shirt. Great shirt.
Hell yeah. That's pretty dope.
Let's see here. Maybe I'll zoom in one more time to see if we can see it more. Let's see. One more time. Let's see if we can. There we go. I think that's pretty good there. You see that? Look at that. Look at that shirt. It's Brutus playing hockey. That's just great. I just love that. That's just a great shirt. We're continuing with the whole, Ohio State sort of thing, but the women have better hockey jerseys than the men. So I guess you could say this is a little bit of both. This is a give and a take. We're taking from the men's hockey team and giving it to the women because the women have better hockey jerseys. And step up your game, men's hockey team.
Yeah, that jersey they have is pretty sick, but then the women's jersey is just cooler. Just how it is.
Yeah. So, even like the white, even like the white that the women have, it's better. Essentially, it's just a white version of what they have for red because the colors are swapped. So
Yeah,
we'll put this up on the screen there and see. But it's basically instead of red with black shoulders, it's white with black. I guess the only slight criticism I have on that is I think that should be red shoulders because red's the main color. But otherwise, it's pretty good.
hell yeah.
But if you're talking about the best of the best when it comes to Ohio State hockey jerseys, we've talked about this jersey many times on the show. After Doug probably knows what I'm getting at here, but
Oh yeah.
This one right here, just get out of here, you.
It's fucking sick.
This one right here. This is
For audio listeners, it's the black and white and red Brutus jersey that the women's hockey has. That's way cooler than anything else out there.
Yeah, put this right here. This is the best of the best. This is the best hockey jersey that Ohio State has right here. And this is just awesome. I just love the color, the black with the red and the vintage white and the O on the collar. And there's Buckeye leaves on the shoulder patch. But what makes this stand out is I just love that Brutus logo there. Ohio State's mascot is Brutus. And I just love that Brutus logo on the hockey jersey. That is the best of the best. That is the best Ohio State hockey jersey right there.
Definitely.
It's just that good,
$200. I'll get it sometime. Maybe after Christmas.
Yeah.
Gotta save.
A little expensive, but you know what? I get it. Like if you told me $200, but yeah, I get it. It's a good jersey. It's definitely worth that $200 price. So I get it. Okay. But anyways, on to the next thing. So, of course, in this past October, I've shared some pictures before. I went to Minnesota to see the Wild play, and I showed some pictures, but now I got some more pictures to share from my Minnesota trip when this past October when I saw the Wild play the Sharks. Before we get there, well, this does have something to do with it. So I'll put this up on the screen. Christopher asks, I don't know if you've answered this. If you didn't root for Columbus in the NHL, who would you root for the Wild? For the Wild? Question mark. Yeah, it'd probably be Minnesota. There's other teams too that I'd probably cheer for as well. But if I had to take a guess, it'd probably be Minnesota. Just for the fact is, I do have some family in Minnesota because I've spent some time in Minnesota in my life, whether that be going to like the Mall of America going to Twins games when they played at the Metrodome. My brother was a big Vikings guy growing up. He loved Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss. Big fans of those, and he wore a lot of Viking stuff growing up. So that, I have that. And I did a lot of time going up to the Mayo Clinic up in Minnesota during in my life, just to, figure out what was going on with me, because there was some suspicion years ago that maybe I was on the autism spectrum, maybe not. We're not exactly sure, but there was some suspicion that he's probably on the autism spectrum. And when you go through all sorts of different doctors in Illinois where I live, and they weren't exactly sure what was going on there. And when you have that, you kind of have some frustrating answers, and then you go up to the Mayo Clinic up in Minnesota, and just like that, no questions asked, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're on the autism spectrum." Like, they figured that out pretty quickly. So and then I remember going when I was 14, we did a Minnesota trip. We saw the Twins play and did the Mall of America, and we went to one of our Minnesota family. They had a party. We went to their house, and that was fun. And there was a Holiday Inn that we stayed at that had this. It was this water slide that was cool, and I remember doing that. And, interesting enough, there was an Ohio State bar that I sat there watching Ohio State up in Minnesota back in 2009, and I also saw the Wild play that year. So I do have a little soft spot for Minnesota in my heart. So to answer Christopher's question, if it wasn't for the Blue Jackets, I would probably be cheering for Minnesota right now. And and another thing is it's only a 5-hour car ride from my house in Illinois. And it's not a long 5-hour car ride. It is an easy 5-hour car ride, because you get in, you get out that quickly. You're there basically. So there's that. And Minnesota basically kind of has what the Blue Jackets have. They have their own version of a arena district like the Blue Jackets have. The Blue Jackets have all the bars and the restaurants and the hotels and the stores all right there. Minnesota has that same exact thing. Obviously, a big hockey guy, love hockey, and the hockey culture in Minnesota is really, really good. There's a reason why they say that they're the state of hockey, because hockey's everywhere. They sell out 18,000 plus for high school hockey games at the state high school tournament there. I saw that firsthand. I was there for a Wild game, and people were everywhere. This is crazy. The bars there in Minnesota were playing the high school hockey games there, and that place was packed of people watching it. So Minnesota's hockey culture is really good, and I wish it was like that all over America. It's not, but so I guess on this long rant here, to answer your question, Christopher, if I wasn't a Blue Jackets fan, and if they didn't exist, I would be cheering for Minnesota right now. But
Hell yeah.
anyways, but I went to Minnesota this past October. I saw the Wild play the Sharks. Good, fun, competitive game, and I took some pictures. And of course, you're in Minnesota. You saw this guy right here, Kirill Kaprizov, who is not only Minnesota's best player, but he's one of the best players in hockey. And wow, he's so fun to watch. He's just so good. And the game I went to, he had a 3.9, so he was real good that game. But anyways, so I went to Minnesota recently, and I shared some pictures, but now I got some more pictures to share from my Minnesota trip that I am going to share. So put this up on the screen. Well, pictures from warm-ups. This is my seats were upper deck behind the goal, about 3 rows up. So we had some pretty good seats, but this was zoomed in. And I took some pictures more specifically. That's obviously David Juracek, who played for the Blue Jackets. So, David Juracek during warm-ups. Also David Juracek during warm-ups. Another David Juracek picture. Here we have Kirill Kaprizov during warm-ups. So that was cool. And then got more pictures. So David Juracek again. David Juracek. David Juracek. David Juracek. David Juracek. Took a lot of David Juracek pictures. David Juracek. Kirill Kaprizov picture. So this is my hotel room. I could legit look out the window and I could see the Wild play. You're like, oh, hey, look, there's the Wild. I will say this, though. This is cool. The Wild have something that the Blue Jackets don't have. They have this, like, bridge thing. It's an indoor bridge thing, but, like, you park over here and then you walk up to this bridge and then that takes you right into the arena. Like, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. We got more pictures from the game. That's pictures from our seat. So we were about upper deck, 3 rows up behind the goal. So that was pretty good. I will say this, though. The stairs were very steep. Oh, boy. Not good. Very, very steep. If you weren't paying attention, you could have fell and you could have made an ass out of yourself if you weren't paying attention. And then, you probably would have been on Twitter, like on the news. Oh, look at this guy. He made an ass out of himself. Look at that guy. But overall, pretty good seats, Before the game, they got this cool light show going on. That was cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Before the game, the Zambonis were on the ice, and then they have these cool Wild, holograms. That was cool on the ice. Another picture. Let's see, Brock Faber. They're one of their stud defensemen. And David Juracek again. David Juracek. David Juracek. I took a lot of David Juracek pictures. There's that. And let's see here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we did yeah, okay. So that's that's pictures from the Minnesota trip there. So that's that. Let's see here. I shared some pictures last week from when I was on the Zamboni. That was cool, but you know what? We're gonna share them again because they were that cool. So gotta go to my Facebook page first, and then I'll put that up on the screen. Okay, so that was cool. Oh yeah.
Kevin really likes the Juracek fellow, huh? Hey.
Yeah, well, he's a former Blue Jackets player, so I kind of had to take some pictures of him.
No, maybe he didn't leave on the greatest terms, but I still got some respect for him. He tried hard when he was here.
He did. He had some good moments, But anyways, so like I said last week on the show, and I'm going to share the pictures again. Let's see here. Oh, okay. My Aunt Karen, she's got some good Yeah, it's the video. I take that back. It's a video. We'll do 2 videos of me on the Zamboni.
Of the Wisconsin Center District. We would like to remind you that re-entry to this event is not allowed. We appreciate and thank you for your support. For every Admiral's power play opportunity, the re-entry's free neighborhood. That means smoking or use of tobacco.
So when the Monsters were in Milwaukee playing the Admirals, I went up there and shout out to our Wisconsin friends Dan and Kelly, who helped out with that by getting me on the Zamboni at the Milwaukee Admirals game, and that was cool. So I got to be on a Zamboni there, and this is cool. It was a fun experience. You are a lot higher up on the Zamboni compared to the actual Zamboni driver, but it's cool. You're waving to the crowd, and that was cool. And I had to, of course, I had my Union Blue Soldier scarf and I had to hold it up, show it off to the crowd. So that was cool. So,
That's sick.
so that was cool. So shout out to my Aunt Karen for this awesome video here. But there's more because she's got more. She's got another video here. I'm clapping, waving to the crowd. So, that was cool. That was cool. So here we have another video.
The other one.
Also, for those that are affected by stroke lights, please stay inside the concourse during our pregame presentation. Please respect the fellow fans.
Them in the background.
Enjoy tonight's game. Welcome to the UW Milwaukee Panther Arena. For your safety, please locate the nearest exit in the unlikely case of an emergency. Please use the following as a guide to help you determine the quickest route. If you are in section 100 seats, please go down the steps and toward the up ramps at the north or south side of the arena.
Nice.
If you are in section 200 seats, please go up the steps.
Pretty cool.
So here I am. We're on the Zamboni going onto the ice. So that was cool, taking a picture and then waving the crowd, holding up the Union Blue Soldier scarf. So that was cool,
Yeah.
We'll
Dope.
let this play one more time, and we got some pictures I'll show, and then probably 1 or 2 more things, then we'll get out of here.
Absolutely. How fast do you think that thing was going?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anything to say about this hefty duck?
What do you think? 5 miles an hour?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
No,
it wasn't that bad.
If you were to try to keep up with it, would you have had to jog or run? Could you have walked next to it?
Oh, I could have walked next to it, yeah.
I was just curious how fast it was going. Is it making any noise? What are they? I mean, I'm assuming it's...
So it does make a noise, but not on the ice.
I don't know.
It made when they started it and they were driving it to get to the ice, it did make noise, but once you got to the ice, there was really no noise that was made.
I don't know.
Other than the fact that the guy driving it, he pushed a lever to to get the Zamboni to get the Zamboni ready to get off the ice. But other than that, there was really no noise when you're on the ice.
Pretty sick. I'll have to try to get out on one someday.
Yeah, it was cool, a fun once in a lifetime experience. And more likely than not, it's probably not happening again. So that was cool. It was fun. You're probably out there for a good 10, 15 minutes just going on that thing and again and again and again, and around circles and circles and circles and circles. Just, a lot of fun. So that was cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I had my Blue Jackets outdoor game jersey, Adam Fantilli, wearing. So that was cool with my cappy. So that was cool,
Hell
The Milwaukee Admirals mascot name is Roscoe, and the Monsters won the game 4-3 in overtime. But when the Monsters scored the third goal, I get up and I start cheering and everything, and then I feel someone touch me, and then I look over. It's the Milwaukee Admirals mascot, Roscoe, like looking at me,
yeah.
like, what are you doing? Like a upset face. I was like, well, I like you, Roscoe, but sorry, I'm going to cheer for the Monsters, and that's just how it is, because I have been to three Milwaukee Admiral games at this. They've had this set up for a bit now. They always didn't have that. It used to be somewhere else, but they used to play at the Bradley Center, where the Bucks used to play. Now the Bucks have the Fizeroff Center, and then the Admirals, they got the UW Panther Arena, where the University of Wisconsin Panthers basketball team plays, and obviously the Admirals play there. And honestly, it's a real good setup because the Admirals are there and just like 5 minutes away, which is where the Bucks are. So that's a good setup down there in downtown Milwaukee. So I've seen 3 games at the Panther Arena where the Admirals play. It's an awesome place to see a game for minor league hockey. But this one was the best one I've ever had. Now we're going to get to some pictures from that particular event. So let's see here. That's our Wisconsin friends. We got Kelly, we got Dan, we got my Uncle Chris, we got my Aunt Karen, we got my cousin Nathan, there's my mom, there's my dad, and there's me.
Pretty cool.
And
I like those jerseys.
Well, it was Halloween night, so
Oh, cool. Oh,
they
yeah.
had Halloween themed jerseys. So there's Karen, there's Kelly. Look, there's me and Luca Del Bel Belouz. So that was cool.
That's probably pretty cool for them to see fans on the road, though, too, because, it's the AHL team. There's some people that follow them, I'm sure, but not by quite as many as that follow the Blue Jackets.
No. So that was cool, and Luca Del Belouz played a pretty good game there. He had 2 goals. And talked to him for a bit. That was cool, very nice. I said, hey, I saw your first ever NHL goal in person, and he liked that. And hey, whenever you keep playing good and get called up to the the Blue Jackets, and that's exactly what's happened. And when the news came out that he was getting called up, I'm like, hell yeah, because I met him in person. That's just great.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I definitely get that. Well, hell yeah. Seems like a cool time.
Almost had to get a picture with Mikhail Putia and Stanislav Svozil. And I asked Stanislav Svozil, what was it like playing in the outdoor game at Ohio State? And he said it was awesome. And then I told him that, hey, I was also at the game where you scored your first ever NHL goal. And he thought that was cool.
That's pretty cool.
Stanislav Svozil didn't say anything. He just kind of stood there off to the side.
Is he? I forget. Is he foreign?
He's
English his first language? Okay.
Probably not.
Right on.
He's
I forgot. I assumed with the name Stanislav Svozil. So he's
we got
Czech.
we got a dude from Finland and we got a dude from Czech. We got a Czech guy.
Gotcha.
But it was cool to see that you got to see people, two people that played for the Blue Jackets, one of them that's played in the outdoor game at Ohio State, which was cool, and a guy who's seen as one of the best defenseman prospects that the Blue Jackets have. And at some point will probably be with the Blue Jackets. So that's cool. So, like, one of these guys get called up again, I'll be like, hell yeah, let's go. I met those guys in person.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So that's that. Yeah, let's see. Okay, the Zamboni video, another picture. Let's see here. We'll do one more thing. Let's see. I wonder if Kelly has anything from that day. There's Kelly right there. I bet she does have something from that particular day. Let's see. Oh yeah. Let's see. November. I know. I think I saw something here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Let's see. Another me. Let's go to the quick look here. Because there she works on the ice, so she skates and cleans the ice, throws stuff in the crowd.
Nice. That would be a fun job.
Yeah. Oh, see, look, there's me. There's me at the game with Kelly. So that's
Nice.
cool. Let's see. Anything else? I don't. Oh, well, she found a Monsters fan there. And
Damn. That is some dedication right there.
Yeah. So that's cool. Let's see.
Cool.
Picture. Karen. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. I've shown pictures from my seat, so that's that's cool. So I think that's the end of that.
Yeah. Getting here towards the end.
Yeah, we're getting here towards the end. I'm gonna take one quick more look on Facebook here if there's anything else that I can share. If not, there'll always be, some other time. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else. I got this. We'll share this funny meme, and we'll probably get out of here after this. I'll put this up on the screen. So the little SpongeBob joke here. So if you've watched SpongeBob, you know that the Krusty Krab is the place that people like going to. It's a good restaurant. You also know, if you watch SpongeBob, that the Chum Bucket, no one likes going there. It's not very good. And this is when we do a little give with Ohio State, and we do a little take. This is the take. The meme is every other Big Ten school's hockey facility, and it's every Big Ten school not named Ohio State on the Krusty Krab. So Wisconsin, Michigan State, Penn State, Minnesota, Notre Dame. Yes, Notre Dame is Big Ten for hockey, and Michigan. And then on the Chum Bucket, it's Ohio State because the shot is awful, and the women play at a Peoria rink, and it needs to be better. So let's get with the program here and let's put some more effort into the hockey facilities by upgrading the hockey facilities and getting more, better effort for the hockey team, because Ohio State, they deserve it. Ohio State hockey should not be the chum bucket when it comes to hockey facilities. They should be like the other Big Ten schools and have good hockey facilities.
Hell yeah.
Anything else to say here or no?
Nah. They just gotta stop being a bunch of bitches.
Yeah, they got it. All right, then. So that that is the end of that, right there. So, Hefty Duck can say his stuff, I'll say mine, and then we can get out.
Hell yeah. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe wherever you're watching from. If you're watching from Twitter or YouTube. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we don't have any sponsors. We don't do any ad reads. The best way you can help support us is by liking and sharing our stuff. We do this for fun. So we appreciate anyone listening or watching. If you'd like to listen to us, check us out on Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you can find podcasts, Apple. We're there. Find us. You can search Brew Jackets, BREW. And that's, I think, all I have to say. Check me out on Instagram. I'm at Lance Schrock Tattoos. Check me out on Twitter, all the places. And that's all I got.
All right. First things first, as we always do, please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Please tell your family. Please tell your friends. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Oop, I did not want to do that. That did, okay, that's no. Didn't want to do that either. Where is it? Where the heck? There we go. That's what I wanted to do. So got to give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc, the best of the best. Love talking hockey with you. Love seeing you at parties, whether it be family get-togethers or holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and so much more, and seeing you at birthday parties and other family get-togethers. A lot of fun, and you're a big Blackhawks guy, but the Blue Jackets became your second favorite hockey team. I love talking hockey with you. Wish you were still here, but unfortunately you're not. But wish you were still here so I could talk some hockey with you, get your thoughts on how you think the Blackhawks season are doing, and how I would share my thoughts on how I think the Blue Jackets are doing, and so much more. So wish you were still here so I could talk some hockey with you. So shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, rest in peace, Uncle Doc.
Okay, so I guess last thing for me for now. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. 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 Follow Union Blue Soldiers on all social media platforms. We do marches and a lot of other fun stuff. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. One more time. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. So that's all I got to say for now. We'll get out of here and we'll see you next time. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm done talking for now.
We will be back here 1 week from today.
Yep.
There's a Sunday game.
No.
Cool. We'll be back here, same time, same place next week. You can catch us where you're watching us now or listening. We'll see ya.